Today in class, we worked more on true and false statements with lesson 24. And in class, we looked at several examples of inequalities and equations. And we were talking about when they were true and when they would be false. Okay, so the first one we did is 15 times c, which I like to expand, is greater than 45. So the students were asked to think about what number can we multiply by 15 to make it greater than 45. 15 times 1 is 15, 15 times 2 is 30, 15 times 3 would be 45. So 15 times 4 would work. That would make it a true statement. 15 times 5 would be 75, 15 times 6 would be 90. Okay, and then we talked a little bit, well, 15 times 2 would be 30, so 30 is not greater than 45, so this would be a false number sentence for that value. Then we talked about possibly c being a decimal or a fractional value. 15 times 3.5, and had the students take their calculators out, is 52.5, and 52.5 would be greater than 45. So we worked on writing inequalities when this would be true and when this would be false. This inequality is true when the variable c is greater than 3. Okay? It can't be 3, but it could be 3.1, it could be 3.2, 3.3. This inequality is false when c is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so then I'll do one more example like we did in class today. We talked about inequalities and how many answers they have. Inequalities have an infinite amount of answers. C could be 4, 5, 6, 700, 800, 900. Okay, and the reverse of that would be equations. Okay, equations cannot have an infinite amount of answers. Equations only have one number. So the second one was an equation, and we looked at 25 equals d minus 10. So what number, if we take 10 from it, will give you 25? And the students were able to come up with that d was 35, because 35 minus 10 gives you 25. And that is the only solution for this equation. And then I asked them to think about writing a number sentence to show all of the false values for the equation, and we were able to come up with d does not equal 35. They were also able to come up with d can be greater than 35 for false statements. D could also be less than 35 to make a false statement. So these all were acceptable choices there. Also in class, we worked on putting in an equality or an inequality to make a true number sentence. So the first time students looked at this, 15 plus 4 is 24. They were very easy to throw in that as the only possible answer for the blank, but 24 could also be greater than or equal to 24, and 24 could also be less than or equal to 24. So this was a huge part of this section of the lesson. 8 times 7 is 56. 56 would be greater than 50. So we talked about plugging in an equation or an equality or an inequality sign to make true number sentences. And the last thing we did from lesson 25 is we looked to find solutions to make equations true. They gave us a set of numbers, and they asked us to plug them in to see if the equation would be true. So I started with 3. 3 plus 26 would be 29. That's not equal to 32. Then I tried 6. 6 plus 26 is 32. 32 equals 32. So in this set of numbers, n equals 6 is the solution. It would make this equation true. And that is a sum of the lesson that we did today. And equations only have one solution, so I knew I was done there. In addition to that, if you are watching this via Educanon, there will be some review questions. So good luck to those, and thank you for watching what my class did in lessons 24 and 25.